A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome to, well, pretty much the final part of this entire saga in terms of discussing my various employment opportunities and all that good stuff that has basically taken place. And so, you know what? I haven't really mentioned a whole lot of things relating to survival on most of those subjects, but at this point, I'm willing to accept that I'm essentially just talking about life stories of all sorts. This is in fact a point in time where maybe some personal life needs to be tossed into the mix. And yet, here we are again. One last point in time where I do get to talk about something relating to my past employment. In terms of talking about current employment, well, it seems debatable at this point. But I will in fact go as far to admit to the fact that the Hamilton School District in the state has in fact hired me to be a part of their maintenance group, pretty much. But before then, there was in fact a seasonal employment opportunity I managed to get with the Kohl's department store in Menomonee Falls itself. And it ranged from November of 2020 up until mid-January 2021. So about 2 consecutive months I was able to run through. It of course was seasonal, so I never quite got a huge kick out of the whole entire thing. But for the time that I was there, I certainly was able to get even better wages, for example, in contrast to what the Marcus Theaters was able to offer me, which was of course still very much even below what minimum would have been for my age group in particular. As far as I know though, there has to be another opportunity down the road. And I can't just be going around sitting in soup that is beyond hotter than what it should be. Yet, that's kind of the natural consequence that comes by when I don't go over to a university. So at this point, I'm doing what I possibly can to get as much life savings together just so I can at least get on going with college. When that time does come, maybe something better will pop up. Until then though, well, let's just talk a little bit about Kohl's entirely. As I've mentioned before, I was in fact managing the freight department, the division of course that relies on freight, including shipments both in and out of the building itself, and various other things relating to do with keeping the stockpiles in check and also keeping in line with what is accountable of all sorts of goods that are delivered to the business itself. Kohl's itself was quite a big point in time to where I was able to exercise on a lot of different job skills and plenty of opportunities that I could have possibly had elsewhere, but yet it was a time where I was 21 at the time. And now I'm just over 22, going on 23, and this is just pretty much how life is going to be going pretty much. Of all sorts of skills that I have put into play and all sorts of things that I was able to adjust accordingly, Kohl's was able to give me a lot of clearance and a lot of unique ways to keep myself in check at all times. It was also a point where I was able to pretty much make some new friends. So, I don't really know much else to say about this whole entire thing because after all, it was only seasonal throughout the time period. Around 2 months had pretty much gone by up until the point where I would indeed be laid off, until another point in time where I would be allowed to come back in for another round of seasonal employment. Which, believe it or not, may actually be happening. I was able to convince a fellow worker at the time to be able to contact them just in case they want to rehire me for another round of seasonal employment. And if that ever does come up, then consider me going back there every now and then, and therefore maybe to me to be more busy with real life as it already is. The life outside of this work has given me plenty of unique things to worry about other than what kind of content I could be providing anybody here online, of all sorts of things that are considered. So you know what? That's just all that I have to talk about in this. And that's all that I'm going to be talking about here for this whole entire part of Survival of No Limits. This whole thing was quite an endeavor. But hopefully we're going to get back onto another endeavor that has to do with regular topics relating to survival at any occasion. So, life stories of all sorts had their risks, but hey, you know what? In the end, I'm still standing. with all arms and legs put together, all vital organs intact, and everything else, well, kept in one piece. So you know what? That's gonna be all for now. But if you want to see more good done on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.